Hey, this is Abe Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com. In this review, I will be highlighting the transformation, special features, and other notables of the High Octane Megazord set from the 2009 television series Power Rangers RPM. One of the important things I want to point out before I proceed with this review is that on the box this set is specifically not labeled as Deluxe Class. Usually the large-scale transforming Zords are Deluxe Class, but for whatever reason on the box and online, various resources online, do not have the title Deluxe. And so moving on, we have the Eagle Racer, we have the Lion Hauler, and we have the Bear Crawler. I'll be starting out with the Eagle Racer, which is some kind of a, well, it's an eagle, but it's also a hot rod. That's one of the odd things about these sets is we've seen animals that are shaped like robots, but we've never seen vehicles that are shaped like animals. I mean, it's kind of an odd paradox. I don't know why it happened that way, it just did. So, anyways, this is an eagle, and it's also, looks to be some kind of a speedster, hot rod, something, I don't know, because it's got that big, engine block, big, long front half of the body. The cockpit is way in back there, and then it's got these great big exhaust nozzles in the back here. So it's got this large fender on either side. The numbers on here, unlike the other two, the numbers just on the Eagle Racer are decals. What you could do with the fenders is you can fold them down. He is, after all, an eagle, and then you can have it, enter this flight mode or whatever it is. And then, if you want, you can pull the arms down, as happens in the series, and you can get the Eagle Racer in its, I don't know, it's kind of flight mode. It's okay, whatever. There's the Eagle Racer. For the Lion Hauler is a bit more on the simple side. As a matter of fact, you can't really do anything with it in this form. Big hollow feet back here. Oh wait, those aren't feet, those are, what would those be, engine blocks? I don't know what those would be. And let's get these big red doors on the top, which will be used later on. The only, I guess, feature that it has is that the head can move up and down. And again, this is because of the transformation. But one thing I want to point out is that that head really likes to pop off. It really likes to, it's just sitting on there on ball and socket joints. Not very sturdy. But you can see on here, well, maybe not on video, trust me, it says 02 Power Ranger. Not Power Rangers, it says Power Ranger. Okay. The Bear Crawler is by far the simplest of the three, as far as transformation, things like that. It's also very, if it wasn't for the fact that it was called a bear, I don't know what this thing is supposed to be, and what kind of vehicle is this? It's got the kind of large fenders with the with like headlights on the front there, and then it's got these big, I'm assuming these fuel tanks here. I'm not quite sure what those are. And that's about it. The odd thing, though, is that even though you can see the kind of the big wide view screen or whatever it is on the Lion Hauler, and then it's got the big cockpit on the Eagle Racer, there is no such designation on the Bear Crawler. I don't know why. It's just it's cheaply made. You can just tell. One thing you can do, I don't know why it does this in the series, it's just kind of weird looking. What can happen is the kind of the upper half of the head can fold up. Now to me it looks like some kind of an alien pod or something, because it's got this, or I don't know, Pac-Man? Terrence and Phillip? I don't know. Anyways, it can do this, but it's got this kind of long stalk in the back here, and then the undercarriage here is all hollow and stuff. It's actually a little tricky putting it back together because you actually have to push back on the yellow half. So this is very cheap, and you can look at the box and you can look at the show and you know that this thing is painted up a lot better in the show than it is for the toys. There's one common feature that applies not just to the larger transforming Zords, but this applies pretty much to all of the Power Rangers RPM sets, and that is these engine cells. Engine key, engine cell chips, I don't know what they're called. I think they're engine cells. Very thin, very, they're actually made of two pieces of black ABS plastic. and then they all have a decal on the front of them. So they're all shaped and look pretty much the same as this. The only difference is the decal on the front, which kind of uniquely identifies which chip goes with which. So it kind of so what they're doing is they're kind of encouraging you to buy other sets in order to get the chips for the individual Zord attack vehicles. So like this specific chip belongs to the Eagle Racer. However, because they're all the same shape and size, they'll fit into any of the toys that are designed to accept. So presumably these transforming Zords or whatever they are, they can all accept these engine cells. You can put it in that way, or you can put it in that way, and it'll fall out. There's nothing to hold it in place. And for the line hauler, you only put it in the left side. It'll only fit on the left side like this. So in there, close that up. Yay. By the way, these doors presume that you have really strong and really long fingernails. I do not have really strong or really thick fingernails, as I've illustrated many times on YouTube and CDX. I'll get to that later. This, by the way, is why you can only put the engine cell into the one side. So these doors are a little tricky to get out. Very, very tiny tabs on there, and you need a lot of force. So I did not like that. And that is the feature associated with the engine cells, which goes into each of these. Now, this, like I said, this cell specifically goes with the Eagle Racer. It can fit into any of the others. It could fit into other sets as well, but it's specifically designed because of the the kind of stylized number one on there. It's specifically designed to go with the Eagle Racer. And now on with the transformation. The Eagle Racer's transformation is, well, you've already seen about half of it. Pulling these two sections apart is actually pretty difficult. I mean, I'm 26 years old at the time of filming this, and you really have to fight it to get those open. You also have to fight it to get the shoulders around these corners. Once you get past that point, you're good. The arms fold down. They're not locked in place, but there's enough friction in here. You don't have to worry about that. The line hauler, pull that down. Pull these out. These great big feet on this thing proportionately is kind of odd. Also, separating the pins that they have in here, a little difficult getting them out of there. You actually have to fight it a bit. Now for the bear crawler, you just separate this and you fold these back. Now, as opposed to just snapping in place, you actually have to slide the bear crawler on top of it, which is it's kind of interesting. It's a nice change, so it won't just pop off when you pick it up. And then the Eagle Racer, this slot here fits over this tab here. Nice buzz cut, by the way. And it just slides in like so. And keep in mind that these the three Zords, even though they slide on top of each other like that, they don't lock in place. I'll illustrate in a moment what I mean here. And there you have the high Octane Megazord. The following posability options are this. The arms rotate forward every 45 degrees. How long have we seen that? Yada, yada, yada. The arms can also go out about 90 degrees. That's nice. You can do that. And then there's the elbows, which, because of the transformation, you can turn the elbows in and out, but you can't twist the wrists. You can't twist the elbows, so you're kind of limited. You can get them doing this whole ding, 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 ding. We are Power Rangers. We are winners. You can do that. So that's kind of cute. Cute, I don't know if that's the word I should use, but I just did. For accessories, the Megazord has these two features. Oh, no, it's on this side. You pull this out, and you get this cartridge, this fold-up cartridge, which eventually changes into something that kind of sort of requires fingernails. This is the Super Saber. What a name. What a name. Does it really look like a sword to you, by the way? I don't know. It looks like some kind of weird javelin or something, or I don't know. You can put it in both hands, but traditionally, because a good percentage of the population is right-handed, and so is the Megazord apparently, you can put it into the right hand, and it grips it nice and tight. Don't have to worry about anything like that. So it won't slip out, won't do anything like that. The other feature is also on the back. What you do is you pull back on the shield. Wow. Okay, here's an illustration right here. I didn't like the connection on this thing. This lever is supposed to stay attached, but you can, just snap it on there if you have to. Officially, what you're supposed to do is pull it out so it does that. While I'm back here, speaking of features, I mentioned during the transformation that one of the things I didn't like about the design is that even though the Zords, slide on top of each other, there's nothing to prevent them from just slipping on and off. See, you try to put on one and the other slips off. So, I don't know, some tabs on the back or something, some bumps or something would have been nice. Anyways, getting on with it. Unique to the left arm only are these two tabs. Right here. The reason those are unique is because there are two holes right there. And so you guessed it, you just place it on those two holes, and this actually stays on pretty well too. Like the hand, it stays on these pegs pretty well. So that's not a problem. That shield's not going anywhere unless you pull it off. And what's nice about this shield, unlike most other shields, it actually acts like a shield. Not only does it attach to the forearm, but it actually gets in front of the torso a little bit. So that's a bit of a nice thing. You can also turn it like that if you want to be weird. Okay. Generally speaking, one other thing is you'll notice that the wheels are bumping up against each other, and that there's a little bit of restriction as far as putting the arm perfectly straight. You can't do it. No matter what you do, if the shield is on, you can't do that. The weapons are okay. I don't know, the shield is a little too holy for my taste. The sword the sword doesn't really look like a sword. I don't know why, it just looks weird. The sliding joints in here are a little strange. See right there. And it just, I don't know, it's not great. It very much, it's not that great. Believe it or not, this high Octane Megazord actually makes some improvements over its original Japanese predecessor. The biggest improvement was attaching the shield to the forearm rather than having the shield have a clip-on that just kind of fits over the hands. Oh wait, what am I talking about? I can just show you. This is the DX Engine Gatai Engine O from the 2008 Super Sentai series Engine Sentai Goranger. This is a deluxe size toy, but this is the original Japanese version. This is not. Why this is not called DX, or deluxe, even though it is clearly deluxe sized and transformable, I don't know why. I think Bandai's got something up their sleeve, and they're playing around with their titles, which they usually didn't. They've been making a mess of things since 2007. I really don't like it. Anyways, one of the things I didn't like about the Engine O, which means Flame God King, by the way, is it had these hands on it. While hands in and of themselves are pretty cool, what I didn't like was how they actually hang on to things. You actually had to open up the hands. And by the way, the Go-On sword doesn't look any better in the original Japanese version. The Go-On sword is loose. If these knuckle joints, if they loosen up enough, and they're pretty much, I'm kind of sort of opening and closing it, but it's loose. You see how loose that is. That's something I didn't like. The other thing I didn't like, well, I did like, by the way, here's the solid joint that the Megazord's thingy doesn't lack, and this joint doesn't come apart either. Actually, that folds back. Here's a tab under here. You just flip up this tab. Here's the other thing I didn't like. You have to wedge this tiny tab. You have to wedge this tiny tab in there like that, and then you close up the hand. Well, it's barely on there, and it's very prone to just popping off. So that was, you can see it's loose. I'm just gonna pull it off just to say it. It is. Anyways, that was one thing that they improved on with the high octane Megazord. It's got closed fists on it, and both weapons fit very nicely onto it. That is pretty much the only thing that is an improvement here over this. That's it. That's the only things they really improved on that I approved of. Beyond that, the joints are either too tight or too loose. This is too loose. This will flip over anytime it wants to. These shoulder joints, too tight. Well, no. These joints are fine. I have no problem with these joints. These joints are probably best recreated from the Engine O. These are probably the best joints on the whole thing. The locking mechanisms at the hip is not the greatest. You've heard my complaints about these joints in here. You've heard my complaints about these already. However, while it makes improvements on the Engine O, what it also does is this is not a standalone toy. Not to spoil anything, but we are going to be getting this toy is specifically designed to interact with others that will be purchased later on. You've got clips that are down here. You've got a hole in the foot here. You've got a snapping thing there. You've got, yep, there it goes. You've got some holes in the back here. You've got a hole here. I don't know if they're going to use these. I'm not sure about that. And then they've got these holes up here. If I had to take a guess, that tab's just going to stick out like a stupid tail the whole time. I would say that those tabs in the top are going to be used for arms later on. Mark my words, something interesting is going to be happening up there. So you can tell this is going to be, combining in this way. So, but I don't know. The reason I'm not bouncing off the walls, about this particular set, like I would have done with the Deluxe Drive Max Megazord in 2007, is, well, the Gag Max Megazord was actually built along the same lines, or this was built along the same lines as the Gag Max. The difference is we didn't know the difference at the time as far as collectors, fans, and things like that. The Drive Max Megazord, which replaced the DX Go-Go Gatai Daiboken from 2006's Go-Go Sentai Bokenger, what the Drive Max did is it was about $30 or $40 cheaper than its Japanese counterpart. It was bigger. It was made of cheaper materials. It was a completely new remold, okay? Everybody hated it. It was pathetic. It was stupid. It did everything that they shouldn't have done. Yeah, it transformed, but like barely, okay? In 2008, well, Bandai America and Bandai Creation, they kind of learned their lesson. They gave us the Transforming Fury Megazord sets, which I loved dearly because they were just as good as the original DX-sized figures, and then it had that awesome limb swapping option on it, which nobody saw coming, which I thought was pretty awesome too. The reason they're doing that, and a couple years from now, the younger generation of Power Ranger fans are going to look at this video and they say, well, why was it so cheap? Why did they make such low quality? In 2009, which this is, the world economy is very bad right now. People can't afford toys. They certainly can't afford $50, $60 toys like they usually could. So Bandai America and Bandai Creation, they're wise to this. And so that's why we're getting the smaller, cheaper versions. That is also the reason why I'm not blowing this thing apart as far as reviews are concerned. It's lower quality, but it's lower and cheaper for a reason, and for a good reason. Bandai is listening to the fans, and the fans are saying, these things are getting expensive. Can you do anything about that? This is what they did about it. Drive Max Megazord, the Transforming Fury Megazord sets, this thing, that's the answer. So that, in particular, is why I'm not attacking this set. It's not the greatest quality. It's not as bad as the Gagmax Megazord, granted, but it's still, you know, it feels cheap. It's almost knockoff quality. Almost. The Gagmax was knockoff quality. This is almost knockoff quality. But I don't know. I would say if you want to go for a cheaper version, go for this. Otherwise, go for the Japanese versions. Okay, the Japanese version, much better quality to them. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, I say a picture is worth 999 words because it seems to be missing one. No one here does it say deluxe, deluxe, deluxe. Nowhere in here does it say deluxe. Nowhere. By the way, why are you guys advertising stuff on this box when chances are it won't be appearing in the series? By the way, whatever happened to the story? You know, it tells you, what the series is about. Whatever happened to the series description? How about, you know what, Bandai, I will give you an idea here. How about instead of advertising stuff that you won't be seeing in the series, how about you give a description on the side of what the story's about, and then give a description of the Megazord down here. Why don't you actually give a description of what this is going to be about when it appears in the series, okay? That's a free tip right there, because we always seem to be missing that. And don't just say, this is a mighty Megazord, and it has a mighty shield and a mighty sword, and blah, 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 blah. No. Go to the writers. They're writing this stuff a year ahead of time. This box can be printed out, well, however long. Give us a description of what this is, okay? Don't just say, has a mighty sword and it can transform, okay? We know that already. You described it right there. You also told us about the engine cell chip right there, okay? 3 Zords combined, okay? How about you tell us what this thing is? Give us a character description, okay? The other thing, and this is hilarious. I actually laughed louder than I am now when I noticed this, is that not only are these the original Japanese versions of the toys, but it says, and you can't see it on camera because it's too close, it says 02 Go Onger on there, rather than 02 Power Ranger, which that's hilarious. That's awesome. Now, to their credit, there is one thing on here that struck me as maybe not odd, but certainly interesting. Another thing that I missed from the good old days when, it was a Saban production rather than a Disney production, you could actually cut out the sides of the box and there'd be a little character. Oh yeah, that's it. Rather than, big description down here, why don't you give us character cards again that actually describe the person or the robot or the weapon? Give us those again. Cut those out. I miss those. This is an old school collector who's been around since '93. Okay. One thing that interests me, though, we kind of sort of get a character thingy, but what we see here, I know it's fuzzy, what we're seeing here is the stunt suit. This is the guy, in the Japanese footage that's imported over every year. This is the guy in the stunt suit for the High Octane Megazord. Well, technically it's the engine now. High Octane Megazord with battle gear. What's the number on there for? I don't know. But I thought this was cool. And by the way, this is not a collector's card. This is a decal. So you peel this thing off and you stick it on your notebook, or you stick it on your door and your mother yells at you, or something like that. We got all these, I think, collecting cards with a character description. And by the way, I think it's equally awesome that we don't see a toy of the Megazord. We actually see what's in the series itself. I like that. I really like that you actually see what's there. It's a pose. It's kind of cool. Meh. Okay, that's probably all you had to work with. It was a full body shot. That would have been awesomeness. Let's go! So give us a character description. Don't give us height, weight, horsepower. Give us things like that, okay? This is a collector telling you that this would be cool, okay? You use that in 2009, or I'm sorry, 2010. And finally, before I forget, I'd like to pass my special thanks out to Vivian of the Rogers Group. I told Vivian that I'd like to cover a couple of items from the Power Rangers RPM series. I gave her a list, and she sent this along to me. Because this was on the list, and I said, I've got the original Japanese versions. I want to cover the deluxe size versions as well. Imagine my surprise when the box did not say deluxe. So, I'd like to send that special thank you out to Vivian. I really appreciate it. And so, this is Ava Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.